G'day everybody, Sean from Bourbon Brothers here. I hope you're well. This is our second video in our October tasting videos. Today we're looking at the Russell's Reserve 10-year-old bourbon. So Russell's Reserve is a straight bourbon out of the Campari group. It's distilled by Wild Turkey. It's just an ongoing release at 90 proof or 45 ABV. It's aged for 10 years and you know that I love an age statement. It's mash bill, 75% corn, 13% rye and 12% malted barley. Russell's Reserve 10-year-old is a part of Wild Turkey's Russell's Reserve line named in honour of Jimmy and Eddie Russell, the father-son master distiller team that have a combined tenure at Wild Turkey in excess of 100 years. Russell's Reserve 10-year is a small batch bourbon that is comprised of hand-selected barrels that have been aged at least 10 years, but possibly more. And like all of Wild Turkey's bourbon, it's made from their single bourbon mash bill. As double-digit age statements on everyday available brands seem to fade away in recent years, Russell's Reserve 10-year now stands among only a few that proudly fit this bill, although it may have just dropped back in quality over the last few years just a bit. Eagle Rare 10 is probably the best direct comparison offered by another distillery. It comes in at the same age, proof, and approximately the same price. By comparison, Russell's Reserve 10-year offers the more quintessential flavour profile, resting on caramel, vanilla and aged oak, as opposed to the more fruit-forward flavour profile found in Eagle Rare. Eagle Rare 10 is also offered as a single barrel via store selections. While the standard release isn't labelled as a single barrel, it's effectively bottled that way using a continuous barrel-by-barrel bottling line. So sometimes you'll find gems and other times they'll be duds. Within Wild Turkey's regularly available bourbons, Russell's Reserve 10-year has the highest age but one of the lowest proofs. This distinction allows the nuances of a higher aged Wild Turkey bourbon to be showcased in a more delicate way. And because it's batched, Russell's Reserve 10-year is presumably more consistent as compared to Russell's Reserve single barrel and Wild Turkey Spirit. Because Wild Turkey's available bourbons all originate from the same mash bill, a low barrel entry proof, and fall within a relatively tight age band, variations between them are arguably more nuanced than variations among bourbons offered by some of Kentucky's big distilleries. With that being said, Russell's Reserve 10 still finds its place within the Wild Turkey lineup, offering an experience that's different enough from others to make it worthwhile. Russell's Reserve 10-year may not be the most talked about Wild Turkey bourbon, but it offers a tremendous value for those seeking a higher age and lower proof bourbon from one of the nation's best distilleries. Wild Turkey offers less in the range of bourbons than other big Kentucky distilleries, largely because they only use one bourbon mash bill and their distillate enters a barrel well under the maximum 125 proof required by law. However, each of their products offers something unique and Russell's Reserve 10-year is no exception. And just as importantly, it's readily available and typically found within range of its MSRP. While it's not often cited as people's favourite Wild Turkey product, it's a must-have for anybody seeking a traditional, higher age, lower proof sipping bourbon. Let's give it a crack. It's a heavy pour. Probably call that a light amber. You get those strong aromas of vanilla and caramel that come forward with whiffs of aged oak, grain cracker and a bit of leather follow on. It's a strikingly quintessential bourbon aroma and given its lower 90 proof point, surprisingly robust, very pleasant and overall offering little to take issue with. Again, quintessential bourbon flavours take the lead with caramel and vanilla notes resting against tobacco and seasoned oak. A slight rye spice also weaves its way in, but allows the other flavour to show more prominently. The bourbon has a nice mouthfeel, albeit slightly thin. No different than the nose, there is nothing at all off-putting and the flavours present themselves are very straightforward in a matter-of-fact kind of way. So on that finish, rye spice reaches a crescendo, leading the charge as the other flavours come through in full force. The spice quickly fades, revealing vestiges of toasted marshmallows, leather, tobacco, and again, fairly prominent caramel and vanilla notes. It goes a little bit dry as it fades away, but leaves a warming feeling in your chest. It's a staple in my bar. I think it should be in one of yours too. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're enjoying your journey. Cheers. Russell's, and that finish, the rye spice reaches its crescendo, leading the charge as the other flavours climax in full force. That sounds really sexual. The palate tastes like Carlton Draft.